he's doing with Lafayette Park, or show us about the gold gewgaws he's put up all over the Oval Office, and the Trump Kennedy Center, or the Trump Institute of Peace. I mean, all of this stuff that the Trump Dulles Airport, all the different things that he wants named for himself, that he's bulldozing, that he's demolishing the banners with his face on them all over Washington. No mention of any of those things.
There must have been an intervention.
Let's see if they're gonna
the ballroom. The whole family was there.
Allow for customized vehicles.
Getting him to not talk about the ballroom because the Democrats wanted him to.
Yes.
Please talk about your ballroom, the thing that you care about more than anything else that the American people care about. And when I see a Trump speech in this setting, I always worry about the people, those high school kids who are watching their first State of the Union.
This isn't working at all.
Donald Trump said that first he said that he would strike Iran as soon as Saturday. That was just this past weekend. Then later on, after Saturday, he said that the U.S. could strike Iran as soon as Monday or Tuesday. It is now Tuesday. So obviously that did not happen. And now it is being reported that top generals have spoken to Donald Trump and told him not to attack Iran, that this would be a grave mistake. And also, I think with a little bit of help from divine intervention, it appears that the military ships are having a problem of their own, which is quite laughable, and we'll show you as well. But let's go ahead and get into this part here. Donald Trump is pushing back, saying they didn't tell me not to attack, but that is apparently what the generals are saying. Listen to this.
Welcome back in here to Live Now from Fox. I am Andy Mack. President Donald Trump here on the eve of the State of the Union, also focusing on foreign affairs as President Trump is mulling his options with Iran, as an American military buildup over the past month means that the U.S. now has an expansive naval and air presence across the Middle East. The two sides still appear far apart in terms of diplomacy, but new reporting right now from Axios, as you can see, Ravid, saying the Joint Chiefs Chairman, General Dan Kane, told the President Trump and top officials that the military campaign against Iran could carry significant risk, in particular the possibility of entanglement in a prolonged conflict. Obviously concerned about that.
So we'll pause here. So as you can see, right, so the biggest concern that the top generals have is that they said that this is not something that the U.S. would be able to sustain. And then also, like, a prolonged conflict with Iran would be absolutely disastrous. So now you're starting to hear other generals speak out against the U.S. attacking Iran. So now Donald Trump is pushing back on this, and he's like, no, nobody said this. He wants to still attack them anyway. But anytime you have the top generals saying this is going to be a bad idea, you should probably listen to them. Let's go on more here.
Trump responding to this on social media is talking about these numerous stories, saying General Kane, like all of us, would not like to see a war, but if the decision is made on going against Iran at a military level, it is an opinion that will be something easily won. He knows Iran well, in that he is in charge of Midnight Hammer, the attack on the Iranian nuclear development. So we're going to continue to follow this here on Live Now from Fox. Let's bring into the conversation co-director of the Future Security Initiative, Daniel Rothenberg. Thank you so much for joining us here on Live Now from Fox. And tensions continue to rise there in the Middle East.
All right, it's launching.
Diplomacy comes first, but is a strike, is expansion, is
now which car should I choose?
Obviously inevitable at this point.
Well, thanks so much for having me. You know, escalation is always the great fear when we have a big military buildup like this. We don't know where things are going. There's no way to be sure, but let's hope that what we don't see is some sort of major move that if it goes out of control. That's certainly possible. I would say.
I just want to add this too. The host, not this guy, but the host, he needs to fix his audio. His voice always sounds kind of muffled, and you can tell the difference between when this guy is talking and when the host is talking.
On the positive side, we've heard from Donald Trump of disinterest, fear, and lesson from the post-9/11 wars that isn't clear is explaining to the American public what is the purpose of this military buildup. What's the purpose of any possible threat?
Outstanding. Dude is good.
What's the purpose of any of these things, right? Let's fast forward a little bit here because you know how YouTube can get with those types of things. I do want to show you the map here. Right here. These are the naval assets
Jesus
in the Middle East.
Christ.
So you guys can see, yeah,
May not catch this
they're
guy.
surrounding Iran at this point. I mean, this is wild. Look at this. The U.S. Mobley, the Roosevelt, the Delbert, the Black, McFall, the Mitchell, the Michael Murphy, like the USS Abraham. Look at all, I can pick them all, man. And here's the Strait of Hormuz, and here's Iran. You see all these ships here, right here in the Middle East? This is crazy.
Clearly, there is not a deal in place. Two sides so far apart from that nuclear development. What are exactly the options for President Trump? You mentioned essentially a singular strike, that there's risk of prolonged entanglement. What are the options on the table for the president right now?
Well, I suppose all of the options are available. It's a huge military buildup. We don't know where it's going. We could look at some previous actions in the region. There was the attack on the Iranian nuclear installations. You know, that was one off attack that was the preliminary efforts to dismantle the ability of Iran to respond. But think of like the not much attention put on the
Quitter.
That cost almost $1 billion.
But you guys get the gist of it, right? So you see what's happening.
Fucked up.
Now, I'll be honest with you. The reality is, if war wasn't, if there was no profit in war, we probably wouldn't have any wars. But there's a lot of money to be made.
Interesting. I didn't know about that shortcut.
They make a lot of money when the United States goes to war, or any country goes to war, and the West needs weapons supply. That's pretty much what this is really about. There's a lot of money to be made there. But if it wasn't a profitable thing, we would be closer and closer towards peace. And I mean like world peace, real peace, not the peace that Trump talks about when we're still attacking people. That's not peace. Now I asked this question, can you teach an old dog new tricks? Apparently, no. Because people tried that with Donald Trump when he was running for president, and they said, promise us you'll put a stop to the wars. And what did Donald Trump say? Yes, absolutely. I'm going to end it. I'm going to end the war with Russia and Ukraine on day one. Oh, I know. It's a tragedy what's happening there between Israel and Gaza. We're gonna stop it. We're going to stop. That's all going to stop. Then he goes on and he escalates things with Venezuela. They're bombing ships in the Caribbean still, by the way. That's not gone under the radar with all the attention on the Epstein files. But they're still bombing ships in the Caribbean. They kidnapped Maduro because of drug issues. But then they pardoned Juan Hernandez, who was a known drug trafficker. It's all over the place. Now they want to go fight Iran. They gave different reasons for this. First it was the protests, and then we told you the protests were infiltrated, and there were Mossad agents there to escalate. And then they say, well, it's because they're building a nuclear weapon, which I've heard my whole entire life. The point is, they've got to the point where they don't even really need a reason. They just want them gone. They want new regimes there, and then they're possibly talking about attacking Cuba. So apparently, no, you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but sometimes there is a thing called divine intervention. And that's apparently what happened here because a U.S. strike on Iran faces a toilet crisis aboard the USS Gerald R. Ford with too few working bathrooms for 4,600 sailors, 45-minute lines, and a system that cannot be fixed at sea. Look at God. Here we go.
The planned U.S. attack on Iran has a hitch. Most of the bomb-targeting crew are busy queuing for toilets on the lead vessel, the USS Gerald R. Ford. This is not a joke. A set of emails was obtained by NPR, a U.S. public broadcasting group, revealing that toilet wars have broken out on board the most expensive ship the U.S. Navy ever built. And the Wall Street Journal followed up to confirm the tale today. TLDR summary: there are too few functioning toilets for 4,600 sailors, and the problem is worsening daily. Problem 1, design planners screwed up by including too few toilets for 4,000 plus sailors,
Oh, you
leading to
left.
45-minute queues on a daily basis.
I'm not waiting.
Problem 2, engineers screwed up by installing a fragile vacuum system in which a single valve breakdown on one toilet can stop all the toilets in an entire department functioning.
Looks like they're in deep shit.
Making the queues even longer. Problem 3, some of the temporary repair operations, such as using an acid flush to clear out calcium buildups, can only be done while the ship is docked. No prospect of that. But with so many toilets out of order, too much pressure is put on the one still working, so the problem will just spread. And the issues have already been mounting for more than a year. A March 18th, 2025 email from the engineering department sent out to all chiefs on the ship said there were 205 toilet breakdowns in 4 days, the NPR reported. Now, the ship is at the heart of US overseas attack operations, working for months in waters near Venezuela to support the abduction of the country's president and the seizing of ships carrying oil to customers around the world.
So do you see the problem? Like, they're like, we have a sanitation problem. We have toilets that will not flush. We are seeing poop come out of the toilets. Pardon me, if you have a sensitive tummy. We're seeing feces come out of the toilet back onto the ship because we just can't get these things to flush. So they're having plumbing issues on the ship. And it's kind of hard to continue this type of a mission when you just got, I don't know, shit all around you on the floor. They're literally knee deep in shit.
And the ship is now heading the planned regime change operation in Iran. Israel wants a pro-Netanyahu leader installed, as the US has done in many other countries. But how can they attack Iran while staff are queuing for the loo?
I love the way he said it. He said the loo.
One result of all this is a war of words between sailors and onboard sewage staff called hull technicians,
Aluminium.
HTs. One sewage engineering chief complained that sailors put all sorts of problematic material down the toilets. Even T-shirts were found clogging the pipes. Our sewage system is being mistreated and destroyed by sailors on a daily basis. My HTs are currently working 19 hours a day right now, trying to keep up with the demand. The US taxpayer spent $13 billion on this ship.
So that's the really important part. Aside from the poop,
Destroyed by sailors.
13 million from US taxpayers. And I think, here's the thing, I think it was like a couple months ago, there were a couple people that were saying that there should be like a tax strike or a tax boycott or whatever, which I would be all in favor for, because I don't remember saying that I wanted to pay for this. So like, our tax dollars are going to support something that a lot of people just don't support. Like, the whole pro-war movement is not what it used to be. Like, more people have become anti-war, right? But that part, that's tax dollars.
On the plus side, it would be delightful if the carrier's desperate lack of functioning toilets caused the attack on Iran to be cancelled or postponed.
All because of poo. And then the other thing, I'll show you another one here. I'm sorry, I just think it's hilarious because karma is I shared it on Twitter and I said, oh shit. It's so fucking that is karma, ladies and gentlemen. We don't usually do it this early, but we're gonna have to drop the beat. We're dropping the beats. Hey, dance with me. Dance with me. Drop the beat. In the street. Woo! That is what we call divine intervention. Because who would have predicted, of all things, that would have happened? It's like like someone's trying to tell you, this is not a good idea. Leave this alone. That's what it seems like, right? Now, we talked about nuclear weapons. One of the things that was leaked back in 2016, this was reported. Shout out to a left-wing account says, remember, both parties have always known Israel, not Iran, is the rogue state with a secret nuclear arsenal. And I don't know why this is so big over here now. There we go. See this? In leaked emails, Colin Powell says Israel has 200 nukes. That was reported September 2016. You see that? Now, many of you may be wondering, so what is going to happen now? So obviously the ships and the toilet situation is obviously putting a wrench into things. But as of Tuesday afternoon, Donald Trump apparently is still trying to make this strike on Iran happen. And I think we're starting to see that because of this response here from Chuck Schumer coming out of that meeting. Shout out to Hotspot that is here. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer after the classified game of 8 briefing on Iran. Look at what he says here.
This is serious, and the administration has to make its case to the American people. This is serious, and the administration has to make its case to the American people.
So he is saying that it's serious, and so this goes to show you that they're still trying to make this happen. They still want this strike on Iran to happen. But I thought it was interesting that he said that the Trump administration has to make their case to the American people, because they all know the majority of Americans are against the war with Iran.
I just realized
so
that
we will have to stay tuned, because I think he still wants to make a strike happen. This is absolutely
the audio
insane.
is playing on
Can
other.
you teach an old dog new tricks when it comes to war? Apparently not. Apparently not. Especially if they're bought off. But shout out to Divine Intervention.
Fixed it.
Hey guys, this was a savvy clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org. I'm Amy Goodman. President Trump's continuing to threaten to attack Iran as the U.S. expands its massive military presence in the Middle East.
With all of the trafficking that happened, whether on Epstein Island, his townhouse in Manhattan, Palm Springs, Palm Beach, or Zorro Ranch, one has to ask, did any of those girls get pregnant? And I think we now have the answer to that question. We've seen different emails about STDs, etc. But now we are starting to take a deep look into what appears to be an alleged victim's diary, and talks about multiple accounts of there possibly being a baby. And honestly, it appears that there may have been multiple babies that were born during all of this trafficking. And the question that we have to ask is, what happened to those babies? Let's go ahead and get into this clip here. A lot of people are finding out about this now. I just found out about this. Survivors' diaries revealed in the Epstein files. Listen to this.
One chilling document you found gives us a window. What did you see? Well, Holly, it was buried deep into these files, millions of files. We found the diary of a young girl. Now, inside of these files, we can see what is happening to her in real time. And I want to
through to your garage.
Viewers,
You
what they're
need me
going to see in terms of the content here is incredibly disturbing.
I can't go to school like this. Those are words written by a victim of Jeffrey Epstein, pouring her heart onto the pages of her diary. The girl fills pages with trauma and poems, but also high school graduation cards. A stark contrast of a childhood interrupted by violence.
So again, clearly someone who was a child. I can't go to school like this. You hear that, Megyn Kelly?
I think the diary was one of the most striking pieces of evidence that I've come across in the probably tens of thousands of pages of the Epstein files that I've reviewed thus far. I found it incredibly disturbing.
Eliza Orlins, a career public defender who has been poring over millions of Epstein files, says this diary stands out. The dozens of diary pages made public focus on the repeated abuse the girl was enduring, including multiple pregnancies. In real time, she gives excruciating details of going through childbirth, with Ghislaine Maxwell allegedly in the room, and of her baby, born alive, being taken away.
Pause. This part is important. So according to this diary, this girl alleges that she gave birth to multiple babies. Now, what's significant about this is going back to Virginia Giuffre's book. One of the things that Virginia Giuffre said was that Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein wanted her to have a baby for them.
If you need me, you know where to find me.
She was against it. According to Virginia Giuffre, that did not happen. The reason why Virginia Giuffre was against that is because she was afraid that that child would be, we'll say, groomed and brought into trafficking. Now, we don't know what happened to these babies. We don't know if they were put into the trafficking network. We don't know what happened to them. And the question people need to ask, these babies that were taken away, these babies that were sent wherever, where are these babies? So Virginia spoke out about this early on and said that they wanted her to have a baby for them. Crazy, man.
She asks herself, why didn't I close my eyes fast enough? Maxwell, she explains, said to close my eyes and put her hands over my eyes. I can't bring myself to write what happened, the girl writes in code in a separate entry. I'm beyond broken. I only got 10 to 15 minutes to hold and feed her before they took her. She is mine. I want her back. Distraught. She glued an image of a sonogram to the same undated page and refers to multiple pregnancies.
So that's kidnapping. So we're just adding up the charges, ladies and gentlemen. Ghislaine Maxwell, which I'm not even sure that's her, in prison right now. I'll get to that in just a second. Ghislaine Maxwell wasn't charged with nearly enough of what she should have been charged with. Neither was Jeffrey Epstein. Now we're adding kidnapping to the list. This is obviously someone who did not want their child taken away, and Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein took the baby. This also brings up another question. Who was the father?
Epstein, what are you talking about?
Where are these babies? Absolutely insane.
Tomorrow is the halfway ultrasound for Jeffrey. This one's stuck. After they took the first baby who survived in the early miscarriage, I think it was called, I no longer feel like a person, but a vessel. Will they take this one too? In the style of teenage girls who use magazine clippings to make posters for their bedroom, this girl is gluing words to describe her abuse.
So it sounds like they used this girl as a baby factory. They used her to produce babies.
She was a surrogate.
It's just like, and I sit back and I look at someone like Ghislaine Maxwell and I'm like, as a woman, how can you do this to another female?
Hello, people. I think you'll like this.
What the hell is wrong with you?
What you want.
So there's this
It's
chemical
sick.
laboratory called Humane
But
Labs.
that's kidnapping, guys.
Used to be run by
And she should have been
Rashkovsky
charged
and
with that.
Popov's pharma company.
She was basically a
few
sex
years ago,
slave.
it was
She
leased to a
put
shadow
through
company run in
forced
part by
birth.
Don
She was
Percival.
put
You guys
through
know Don
so
Percival?
much trauma and
Well, he's a
horror.
The
warmongering
pages
right-wing
filled with
douche
prayers
with all the
begging to
subtlety
be
of a
released
red
from this
dildo.
torture and
Trust
hell.
me, I met a lot
To
of them.
date, there are no known related
warmongering right-wing
investigations or
douches, not
charges.
red
We all
dildos.
should be
Whatever.
screaming and
Point
yelling
is,
and
Percival is up
talking
to no
about
good in that
why
shithole.
there weren't investigations,
agents,
you know,
you
why
believe?
there weren't certain searches, why prosecutions weren't brought, why sweetheart deals were given.
And Holly, we do not know what happened to the baby or who the father technically is.
See, this is what, you know, we don't know if those babies were trafficked.
Get the Humane
We don't
Labs
know
key
if they
codes
were
and the
some type
armored
of
4x4s
rituals
like
were
the ones
used with
guarding
those
the
babies.
place.
We don't know
You'll
what
do the
happened
key
to
code
those
exchange
babies.
just off Elgin Avenue. You're going to
Now,
be meeting
we
with
have a little
somebody
bit
who's had a
more,
bit of trouble with the
detail
Bureau,
here. I
so
wanna bring
please
this up
use caution.
as
One of you
well,
is going to do the exchange, one of you is a bodyguard,
because this
and
was
the other
in the
two are going to be
Times,
lookouts.
too.
The armored
Jeffrey Epstein
4x4s
had a
belong to
secret
Merriweather
child
Security
who was
Consulting, which
taken
belongs
from
to
the
Don
mother
Percival,
at
who is
birth.
running Humane Labs. You'll
Jeffrey
find the
Epstein
Merriweather
may have
insurgents
had a
on
number of
exercise at Davis
secret
Courts in
children
Blaine County. All right, people,
buried
it doesn't
in
matter
3
what order
million
you do this in, just get it
are
done. This
references
will pay
to
well.
Epstein
No
having
questions
fathered
asked.
children,
We never met.
including one by a teenager who alleges her daughter was taken from her minutes after birth. So I wonder if this was all a part of that eugenics conversations that we saw throughout the Epstein files, where Epstein was encouraged by others via email that he needed to spread his seed or whatever. So I wonder if that's what this was about. But you essentially had a young girl at that time, now a woman, if she's still alive, if she's still out there, who has children somewhere and she has no idea where they are. And then you got to think about something else. What does that mean for medical history? They don't know who their mom is. How do they know what their medical history is? It goes on here and it says that it talks about the diary entry here. Epstein victim claims to have given birth to a baby girl in about 2002 when she would have been 16 or 17 years old. And so you can see these are the copy of some of the pages from the diary. She has a little form here that says, your clear eye, it's called Child. Your clear eye is the one absolutely beautiful thing. I want to fill it with color and depth.
Needs to be able to get in and out quick. Make sure the entrance to the lot isn't blocked by your vehicle.
April Snowdrop, Indian Pipe, Little. Stalk without wrinkle. Pull in with images. Should be grand and classical. Not this troublous. Wringing of hands this dark. Ceiling without a star. My heart belonged to her. You can see some of the writing that she had here. The child appears to have been taken away 10 minutes after the birth. She was born. I heard her cries, the victim wrote. I
The
saw
fuck
this
is up with
tiny
those
head
tires?
and body in between the doctor's hands. Jelaine said she was beautiful. Where is she? The doctor's hands.
Whoops.
Who was the doctor? Who gave?
Somebody's gonna quit.
Who gave?
That was a
assistance with the
mistake.
birth
All
of
right.
these babies.
I was trying to cut on the
The
flashlight.
woman wrote, "I do not want to be tied to Jeffrey for the rest of my life. Playing the piano well is not a good reason to think someone has good genes or should have a baby. I am too young and he is too old." So here we go with the eugenics. Let me make this here. This plays into the eugenics a little bit here, where it looks like they were looking for certain girls that they said had good genes. The diary was shared by the woman's lawyers, Wigdor LLP, with federal prosecutors investigating Epstein and Maxwell. The woman later filed a lawsuit against Epstein associate Leon Black, the former chief executive of Apollo Global Management. Remember, we talked about him under the pseudonym Jane Doe in 2023. Leon Black was the one that also owns the Life Touch Picture Company, which is a part of Apollo Group Management. He's the one that also is mentioned in the Epstein files. as being sexually violent to a 7-year-old girl. The victim alleges that he assaulted her at Epstein's house in an assault that caused her to obviously bleed there. Black denied the allegations. The case is continuing. The Times was able to confirm her real name, but has chosen to protect her identity. The paper was not able to verify the woman's claims, and if true, what happened to the newborn. It has never been publicly confirmed that Epstein had any children.
It was their fault.
And there is no mention of
But
any
it's still my fault.
in a will
Technically.
he drew up in the years before
They
the
started
2019 death in a New York prison cell. Epstein's last known girlfriend, Karna Shulak, I think that's how you say her name, Kanya Shulak.
I started it.
And he stated he wanted to leave her his private island as well as $50 million and his Manhattan townhouse. In one video in the files released on Friday, which is undated, but appears to have been filmed at Epstein's New York mansion, a DNA paternity test can be seen on the table. In another email, one sent to Epstein in 2011, Sarah Ferguson, which is the ex-wife of formerly known as Prince Andrew, congratulate Epstein on the apparent birth of a child. So here's where we got to tie in other people. If you want to know if Jeffrey Epstein had children, seems like to me the people you need to talk to, because Jelane's not talking, is Sarah Ferguson, or Fergie, and formerly known as Prince Andrew. Because something's going on. One message is signed off by Sarah and mentions the Duke. The sender congratulates Epstein on the apparent birth of a child. Don't know if you're still on this BBM, BlackBerry Messenger, but heard from the Duke, you have had a baby boy. So now we know it's a boy. Even though you never kept in touch,
when I get the all clear,
I still am here with love,
Can I get sign-off?
friendship, and congratulations on your baby boy, Sarah.
That bank.
Here's that
That was
email
you, right?
here.
Or someone associated to you?
Florida said, ask Lion Bill Gates.
What you're getting into right now is a whole different ballgame, my friends.
Nico Bellic.
You got the go ahead?
This was September 2011.
You got it.
Yeah, it says here, you have disappeared. I didn't know you were having a baby.
FIB,
It was so crystal clear to me that you were only friends with me to get to Andrew. And that really hurt me deeply, more than you will know. Interesting. And that's following up from here. Don't know if you're still in. This is the part where they said congratulations on the baby boy. So people keep saying, well, we don't know. I say yes on that, right? We do know.
The Bureau's coming at us. Damn it.
A lot of
Do
these
not surrender. Take them out. You're burned if you were caught.
These are why Fergie and Andrew. In an email sent to Epstein's private last year to Bloomberg, there was a suggestion that Epstein and Maxwell talked about undergoing a shared fertility
You need to clean up
procedure.
these agents. They're chasing a payoff and they will keep coming.
The email to Epstein in 2007, around the time she had claimed to have left Epstein's orbit and had already been dating the technology billionaire Ted Wyatt. She instructed, your cup plus instructions are in the Oval Room. The sample has to be dropped off at 10, plus you have to fill out the forms. I would have filled them for you, but I was not sure what you wanted to put on them. Let me know if you need and want me to do anything. You know what I was thinking about when I saw this? There's a docu-series on Netflix. I think it's called The Man Who Fathered 1,000 Kids or something like that. What if Jeffrey Epstein, all these emails where we're seeing him talking about eugenics in the Times, what if Jeffrey Epstein was trying to populate, produce as many kids as possible in favor of eugenics? What if he was trying to be like that guy in Europe on the Netflix docuseries that had over 1,000 children. Because what is revealed in that docuseries is that that guy's goal, and another guy who ends up joining him, their goal was to make the world more white. And then this means that Jeffrey Epstein has kids around here somewhere.
Or Jewish for Epstein, though.
Oh boy. My kind self said there are people talking about a cloning project at Zorro Ranch. Yeah, there's so many different things like in those files, and that's what it seems like. This is another operation that was allegedly happening on these different properties that Epstein owned. And like I said, now we're talking about kidnapping. What happened to these babies? Epstein confided in scientists a scheme to seed the human race with his DNA by impregnating women at his vast New Mexico ranch. This was reported in 2019. There is no evidence that it ever came to fruition. Epstein's vision reflected his long-standing fascination with what has become known as transhumanism, the science of improving the human population through technologies like genetic engineering and artificial intelligence. Critics have likened transhumanism to a modern-day version of eugenics, basically trying to make everybody like you. Epstein had based his idea for a baby ranch on accounts of the repository for germinal choice, which was to be stocked with the sperm of Nobel laureates who want to strengthen the human gene pool. Somewhere there's a mother without her kids that were stolen from her. These are not good people. You guys see why I say these rich people are not good? People were sharing it as well on X. Why is there an ultrasound in the Epstein files? Whose baby is this? Where is this child? Yeah, no, it's not AI. Where's that baby? The date here says 2011. Just things that people started to notice. Now, it says here, Yana Bogomalova in the upper left. Someone asked Grok who this person is. Grok said, Grok is AI on X for those who don't know. Grok said Yana Bogomalova is a Ukrainian woman mentioned in Jeffrey Epstein's release files. Reports indicate she and her sister Erna were recruited from Ukraine into Epstein's network around 2012, receiving training and assignments. A 2011 ultrasound video in the files shows her third trimester pregnancy, though details on the child or father remain unclear from public sources. Allegedly. Thomas Massey was on the floor again Tuesday afternoon, calling out the need to hold these people accountable. But guys, we really don't know how far this goes. I only know what I've seen in the files or what I've reported on in the past, what other people have come onto the show to show me, like via their research, whether it's Whitney Webb.
Okay, let's get these armored vehicles. Get down to Davis Courts.
I really don't know how far this goes, but it seems like to me it was a global criminal enterprise. And I believe there are multiple Jeffrey Epsteins. There's also the story about the three Israeli brothers that it seems like to me there are multiple Jeffrey Epsteins too. We have to get into a little bit of that. I think we'll have to get into it on Thursday. I have time, I'll go ahead and squeeze it in. But we got to talk about those brothers that are standing trial right now that were doing a similar operation to what Jeffrey Epstein was doing. Listen to what Thomas Massey said here today.
You know, if these insurgent LAPVs, light armored personnel vehicles, came electric with driverless capabilities, might look into the financing options. Use it for the kids' soccer run. Not that I have children that I know of. Officially, who needs the paperwork, right? For cars, not kids. And who needs it when I can recruit degenerates like you to go on errands? Hey, by the way, you mind picking up some milkware out? I'm joking. You'll only be asked to collect what's needed for the larger operation, so unless we're taking advantage of a guard's lactose intolerance, you won't be sent to the farmer's market. Rest assured, these vehicles are fast, armored, all-terrain, perfect for militarized police-sized military, and concerned civilian interests. Whether you're driving this into enemy forces in a theater of war or a crowd of protesters in downtown LS, you can rest assured. Did I mention you've got an option for leather seats and satellite radio? Insurgent LAPV Mark III integrity test on my signal, and fire!
To the United States, resigned in disgrace from the United Kingdom, House of Lords, and the Labour Party. And he's been arrested. Former Prime Minister of Norway, Torbjorn Jagland, has been charged. But we don't see any charges, arrests, or investigations in the United States. What do we see? You see our FBI director celebrating in the locker room at the Olympics overseas. It's fine to be proud of this country. But we should be proud of this country because we have a system of justice that works. And yet we do not.
Was chugging beer with the U.S. Olympic hockey players instead of out here trying to arrest criminals that are participating in these just FYI.
We're the men that should be investigated. I'll name them right here. Leon Black. You don't even have to see past the redaction to see that this man needs to be investigated. That's huge. A terrible thing. It's right there in the file. Why is he not getting investigated? And Leslie Wexner, why did the FBI listen to their own documents, the child sex trafficking case, and then tell him, according to him, had no question for him? Why is that? Well, the
sensitivity is so
requires the DOJ, FBI to disclose to us their internal memos and emails about how they make it. And we still don't have the memos and documents and emails. You guys are that Jeffrey Epstein was given such a slight opinion and what would have been an open and shut case, child sex trafficking, which allowed him to go back and recommit terrible crimes, create hundreds of more victims.
How are those LAPVs doing? Come on,
folks. So many other people in this conspiracy. Where are those documents inside those students? We need justice. We want the Department of Justice to get to work. That's what they need to do now.
Yeah, a number of arrests that have happened in Europe, but not here, of course, in the United States. We're actually going to pull up this picture here of those brothers, because remember a couple of days ago I told you guys there's multiple Epsteins. So let me go to the three brothers. They're Israeli brothers. Here we go. Shout out to the Cradle. High-profile Israeli-American brothers face trial for sex trafficking in the United States. This is the picture of them here. There are three brothers. Two of them are twins. And so this isn't getting a lot of attention like it should, but it seems like to me this is a similar Epstein operation. Three Israeli-American brothers, twins, Alan and Oren, and their older brother, Tal Alexander, are on trial. In the United States, they are accused of running a sex trafficking and sexual assault network Sound familiar? Originally from Israel, the Alexanders built a high-profile career in luxury real estate, serving wealthy clients and celebrities, but prosecutors allege they used parties, drugs, and coercion to assault women, with each brother accused of assaulting women at least 2 victims. Court testimony has included accounts from women going to parties, drugged with substances such as ketamine, Xanax, Ambien, and GHB, and assaulted. Several civil suits have also been filed, including one by Kate Lightman, who claimed she was attacked in the Philippines in 2012. She later died in Australia under circumstances deemed non-suspicious. Sound familiar? That reminds me of Virginia Giuffre.
Damn.
It goes on here, and it says, text messages presented in court suggest the brothers coordinated drug use to incapacitate women. Outside court last week, their father, Shlomi Alexander, who immigrated from Israel to the U.S. to start a successful security company before branching into Miami real estate, claimed the cases had begun with a
thanks, Sabrina. I'm just keeping it minimum for right now.
Part of this extortion attempt.
In the future, I plan on adding more, but I'm still going to keep it minimum.
Rather than trafficking. The trial is ongoing, with prosecutors emphasizing coordinated assaults and drug use. Those are the brothers.
Get the insurgents and get out of there.
And this is, you know, we all know Epstein was using substances on people as well. This person's remembering what happened with the guy that was in Vegas, who just fled back to Israel. I mean, this is why I say, y'all, I'll go back to this is why I say, again, there are multiple vaccines. And of course, Uncle is talking about it as well. Now, again, imagine, I just want you guys to imagine if all these guys were, imagine if they were Palestinians, imagine if they were Muslims, imagine if they were black, imagine if, you see what I'm saying? And from what I understand about these brothers, this was going on for years. Very similar to this Epstein operation. So there could be multiple Epsteins.
The Xander brothers now facing federal charges. Authorities calling them serious sexual predators.
guys get the point. But someone shared the data set too. They said that Allen showed up in Epstein file search, but the documents have been removed. So this is another one. Allen Alexander, data set 9. Tall Alexander, Oren Alexander. See how their names show up in the files? And they've gone in and they've removed, you know, some of these files.
I tell you, we only needed one of these. Other one's
the
a
other
spare.
thing about this is
You're gonna
like
be going in the one without a
some of
gun.
the
Don't
things
want to draw
that
attention.
we showed you guys
Pull
early
the
on
electrics,
are now
strip
like
the plating.
gone.
EMP will go in. Meriwether
And
won't notice
of course,
the difference.
that is intentional.
You guys won't need armor in
I
there,
don't
will
know
you?
what happens with the video.
I'll definitely add your
That's
Discord
Get going. Let's wrap this up.
when I get a chance.
But the Guardian is also reporting on this. I was so scared. U.S. trial witnesses allege
Looks like 2 people send me a
Alexander
Discord.
brothers, work together to sexually assault women. So this is another one we'll have to look into as that trial continues to go on. But it's wild. It's wild, you guys. That's why I say I think there are several other Epsteins. And we talk about teaching an old dog like new tricks or whatever. Like it seemed like with the Epstein situation that they were willing to try some of any and everything to preserve his likeness, even if that meant
All on kick.
producing babies with his DNA.
I mean, I would look at it.
Or trying to see if there's ways that he could live longer. Like all those conversations in there that he had with people like Bill Gates, etc. Like it's really creepy, really creepy. But somewhere out there are those babies. Someone mentioned it here. Kelly said if the baby in that ultrasound were in utero in 2011, it would be
You guys
14,
both have
15 years old
0
in
followers
2026. Are they out there being trafficked right now?
and no
It's
streams.
a good question. Something to think about, ladies and
You gotta be
gents.
bots.
Something to think about. Hey guys, this was a savvy clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.
Prove to me you're not a bot.
Today's show in London following the arrest of former Prince Andrew on Thursday. He was held in police custody for 11 hours before being released in the latest fallout from the release of the Jeffrey Epstein files. Andrew is the brother of King Charles and the son of the late Queen Elizabeth. The former prince is the first senior member of the royal family to be arrested in almost 400 years. Police are investigating whether he committed misconduct in public office by sharing confidential government documents with Jeffrey Epstein while serving as UK trade envoy, a breach of the Official Secrets Act. King Charles has said he will give his, quote, full and wholehearted support to the
Meriwether,
investigation.
because security is a private matter. What can I do for you?
The law must take its course. Andrew's ties to Epstein have been known for years. Virginia Roberts Giuffre, who died last year in an apparent suicide, said she was forced to have sex with the prince 3 times, beginning when she was 17. On Thursday, Virginia's brother, Sky Roberts, and his wife Amanda responded to the arrest of the former prince.
Shithead! You're gonna get it. Fucking cocksucker. Look, you are broke. You are not messed asshole.
Somebody who is held
Fuckface.
to one of the highest
This is you ain't no fucking guy.
and so to know what we should expect, it's really
I
naive
took
to say
enough
that
of your
we do,
bullshit,
but,
jerk.
we won't stop. I mean, Virginia said
Fuck
so
you,
clearly.
smell. Fuck off. I will rip you apart.
We won't stop until justice is served.
We are trailing
Idiot.
too far
See, now
behind
that's what I
justice.
fucking cocksucker.
We are sitting on the mountains of
You
information.
ain't no fucking
You look
lie.
funny.
This administration likes it or not. It is
Dumb
sitting at
sucker.
your doorstep.
I took enough of your bullshit.
Okay?
Son of a
Everyone
bitch.
is looking at us
Fuck
to do
your
the right
broke
thing.
ass on, asshole.
If they can't do the right thing, they should resign.
That was Amanda Roberts and her husband, Sky Roberts, the brother of Virginia Roberts Dufresne.
I gotta reload.
We go now to London, where we're joined by Carol Cadwalladr, award-winning investigative journalist whose Substack is How to Survive the Global. She gained international recognition for her expose in the Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal in 2018. Carol is also the co-founder of an independent news outlet called The Nerve, launched with 5 former Guardian journalists. Carol, welcome back to Democracy Now! First, this news of the last
Shit, man! I'll kill you!
Former Prince Andrew, the brother of the king, was arrested on his 66th birthday. The picture of him as he was released after 11 hours, now under investigation with his homes being raided, is startling. It's stunning. To say the least, a deer caught in headlines. Explain the significance of this moment for British society when senior royal has not been arrested in what, over 400 years.
I mean, it feels like a really significant moment in Britain, and almost they're treated with such reverence and respect by the British media. And I think, in all honesty, we didn't see this because it just hasn't happened before. So it's definitely a sort of incredible moment in Britain, and that image that you refer to, that is splashed across every single newspaper in Britain this morning, across the tabloids. The thing that I'd say is this isn't just an incredible moment in Britain, it's an even more incredible moment in America, because, we are the old country, we are the country with a massive absolute rule that you have to have a revolution to get away from, and yet here we are what do we see? We're seeing this sort of culture of impunity. Is not equal, there are people who are above it. So I think it's no threat because we are doing the right thing. I mean, it shows that we are equal before the Lord. I think in America, it's hugely embarrassing, it's significant, and it should be delightful.
Over so many as he networked, both bringing in underage girls and women to be assaulted in the United States or in the U.S. Virgin Islands, but also just creating this network of people that gained financially from knowing Epstein.
Yeah, sorry, Amy. You're absolutely completely right there, and I think. I mean, it's the tragedy of it is the thing I think to really hang on to in this moment. As you say, the police did not arrest and question Prince Andrew for the alleged crimes which Virginia Giuffre, were told in that book. And that I mean, it's heartrending really, because what if they had? What if she had been believed? What if there had been accountability while she was still alive? So, I think the debt that we owe...
You're through to your garage. You, need me to bring you a ride?
Her strength in telling this story, it is why we are here now. And it's just a terrible, terrible indictment that it wasn't because a woman's word was sufficient for this investigation to take place. It was, what on the surface of it are lesser, less significant crimes that we're now having sort of the wheels of justice turning.
Interestingly, as you were talking, Carol, we're showing that famous photograph of Andrew, the man formerly known as Prince, with his arm around Virginia Giuffre, standing next to Ghislaine Maxwell. I think it was in Ghislaine Maxwell's apartment in London when she was first assaulted by the former Prince. And you see a flash in the window reflected beyond them, because Epstein is taking this picture on Virginia's own camera. She asked for it incredibly prophetically, and this is what has taken him down. You also have, here in the United States, Les Wexner, who is the former head of Victoria's Secret, Limited, Elle brands, being questioned at his Ohio mansion by the House Oversight Committee. Interestingly, no Republican went for that questioning, even though when they put out the video yesterday, they had, I think there was a picture emblazoned across the video, GOP oversight. I want to go to the clip. You can hear Wexner's lawyer, as he's being questioned by the Congress members, saying, "I'll effing kill you if you answer another question in more than 5 words."
What the hell? Retreat! Get that son of a...
I mean, amazing that we can hear this over the mic. But this goes to a bigger point, and it goes to the word following the title of your Substack, the Broderbund. After being arrested, and in this country, the man that bankrolled him, possibly to the tune of billions of dollars, how he had his mansion in New York, how he had his island in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and his mansions now being investigated, the Zorro Ranch in New Mexico, and using Ohio, the mansion of Les Wexner. He couldn't possibly maybe have had even this huge sex trafficking network that has led now to a sex trafficking investigation in as far as Latvia, and the former Prime Minister of Norway being investigated, 2 investigations in France being opened. But this Les Wexner hearing this and having the U.S. Attorney General saying there are no investigations, the case is closed, even though they haven't released another 3 million pages, and President Trump saying, "See, I've been exonerated."
I mean, I think, Amy, you're so completely right, and I think that if you don't look at Epstein and see that it's part of something much, much bigger, if you don't connect it to the political moment that America is in, and that the absence of inquiry and leadership and actual, accountability in any sense around this story. I wrote a piece and I said it's the dog that doesn't bark, and if it doesn't bark now, it is not going to bark when the midterm elections come, and what many people I think see is going to be a sort of authoritarian assault on them. And I think you don't want to look back at this moment and see that there is this moment in which Congress didn't act, in which the press didn't summon the necessary sort of fire and fury and realize that actually it's a bellwether, it's a sign, it's this culture of impunity. And so I think that's my sort of message from here in Britain, in this old class-ridden society that, as I say, you had to have a revolution to get away from. We are actually able in this moment to show that there is accountability, to show that people are equal before the law. And you are not, you no longer can. Like, the Constitution is breaking down in real time. And I think Epstein is such a symbol of this. And I think in exactly the same way that these women were not believed, that it took these files to come out for suddenly people to go, oh, actually, you know, it turns out it went to a far, far, story than we realised. It feels like a parallel moment in that actually believing what they're telling you now, what this story is telling you now. There's so many people over it. This should be the moment when you realise that, you know, it's this thing, the call is coming from inside the house. That actually you really need to step up now. And if you cannot realise that this huge, vast, money-laundering, international sex trafficking operation that involves every single institution in your country, it involves banks, you know, it involves people who are part of the government, it involves people who are part of the press. It's everywhere. And I know it must feel kind of overwhelming because it's so pervasive. But I think really the thing which is missing, I suppose, is this sort of leadership in being able to signal this and call it out and to demand that the steps are taken now.
Finally, we just have 30 seconds, but you just republished the U.S. coup 1 year on. Explain why.
Because, well, a year ago I published this article and in which I put what I thought should have been the headline on the front pages of the New York Times, which was "It's a coup." And I did that because the historians of authoritarianism, Tim Snyder, Ruth Ben-Ghiat, they were calling it out. They were saying that the overturning of the rule of war in this sort of blitzkrieg of executive orders that Trump was doing, they said this is a coup. And the vantage point that I came from in my work of looking at the way that data is used, it was the assault by Doge, the illegal assault by Doge on the US Treasury, in which they illegally captured and data harvested, you know, the personal data of the entire US population, and then they went to do that across the US government. Now, in the age in which we live, knowledge is power and data is knowledge. And that power was being concentrated in, as I said, this totally illegal data gathering operation. And that for me is the foundation of the surveillance state. That is what we can see now coming into being. That is what is happening in Minnesota. And I think it's really important to mark these landmarks that we're a year on from that moment. And nothing has got better, everything's got worse. This is now consolidating. And you're now in the final stretch. You now have, you know, it's months now, not years, in terms of the midterm elections, really. Is that going to be a performative election in which there's going to be, you know, it's going to look like democracy as it is in Hungary, as it is in Turkey? Or do you have a chance now to save your country? And I think it's really, really uncertain. But it is so double money. It's on the grass sale that you're in. And I think there's a lot of people out there who still aren't.
Carol Cadwalader, I want to thank you for being with us, award-winning investigative journalist. We'll link to your Substack, How to Survive the Blow Report, who gained international recognition for expose on the Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal in 2018. Co-founder of independent news outlet The Nerve, launched with 5 former Guardian journalists. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to make sure you never miss a video. And for more of our audience-supported to journalism, go to democracynow.org, where you can download our news app, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to the daily podcast, and so much more.
We also have 5 times rewards on
Voting rights advocates are expressing alarm after the Republican-led House passed a bill Wednesday that could disenfranchise millions of voters. By a vote of 218 to 213, Republicans approved the so-called Save America, which would require voters to show passports or birth certificates to register to vote or update their voter registration information. The bill also effectively eliminates online and mail voter registration. Demetria McCain of the Legal Defense Fund responded to the vote by saying, quote, "The Save America Act is not about protecting our elections. It's about disguising voter suppression techniques aimed at disenfranchising black voters as election security," unquote. The Save America Act now heads to the Senate, where it faces some Republican opposition. Meanwhile, shocking new details have emerged about how a prominent election denier played a key role in the FBI's recent raid on the Fulton County Election Office in Georgia. An unsealed search warrant affidavit reveals the raid came after a referral from Kurt Olson, a lawyer who tried to overturn the 2020 election. One of the debunked claims listed in the affidavit comes from a so-called citizen researcher named Joe Rossi, who claimed that the number of ballot images for Fulton County did not match the full total number of ballots.
Yeah, that's a good one to get. My Tony Robber this week is going to feature the Karate GTAO classic spars and benchmark of the week, and then the standard range vehicle for the week, and the VF compact class bar featured in the cargo ship cup. When it comes to your other 2 free vehicles for the week, we have the Lucky One Podium vehicle, which is the manufacturer's Starlight GT, and then the LS Corvette Prize Ride is the Phantom F6 Ice Top 3 and LS Perfect Series races.
Alright, let's get the EMP and the LAPV to HLA.
Dude, it's a 2-door. What's your rank?
Still at the safe house on North Calafia.
We also get together 2 completely free margins for log in, keep the website online, and they can list the photos of their first list of plastic. Sweet. Also at the LS car being picked up.
Obviously, this is a malware-style attack, so we need to get the Trojan in without it being identified. It's a genuine Merriweather insurgent with no obvious signs of tampering, so once it's in place, it shouldn't be flagged as suspicious. Until it's too late, that is. We're providing you with suppressed firearms to make minimum noise impact when dealing with guards. The rest is up to you. If there are guards in each other's sight lines, you'll need to coordinate your takedowns. Standard procedure for a gang of no-good criminals like us, I'm sure. I thought worth a mention.
At Luxury Autos, you can take advantage of the character lander along with the Optimus, and then the gun pin, you can get 50% off the concession.
This is almost my favorite part of the process, putting on the finishing touches. It's like the night before Christmas, morning before a test. Yeah, I got a degree. In prison, the anticipation is killing me, so I guess we're all in danger. Do we have you know we got a good price for the Hydra? The jet's a collector's item, real nostalgic appeal. I just hope it gets used what it was built for, you know. It's out there bombing orphanages instead of sitting in mothballs appreciating value. The buyer does have a questionable human rights record, mind you. So here's hoping she's not just rolling it out for air shows.
Another one of the sea business for double cash benefit. You would have benefits anywhere that it is decent money right there. It's just a matter of like I'm sick of it. I know a lot of the draft races and the first races being 6.5 state papers. And the other bonus
could tell that I've been to the strip club a little bit. Too much.
Which you've never needed in any previous election to be able to register to vote. And it's all predicated on the live...
I got a car that was too difficult for this guy to drive.
No evidence that non-citizens are voting in U.S. elections. We've had study after study after study
especially in the rain. Most likely with a keyboard or mouse. Or you have no control over the throttle. Unless you have one of those analog keyboards, which is rare. First, we get into the... I knew this stick was going. I'm gonna have to replace the stick. I'm a fucking game head. Okay, so... go to Amazon and replace the stick.
January 6th, during the insurrection, he then became...
Or you can get something to go over the stick.
Gubernatorial candidate Kerry Lake's campaign in 2022 in Arizona. He was sanctioned by a federal court for making false claims about the election.
Last night, President Trump delivered a nearly 2-hour State of the Union address, and it went about as well as you'd expect.
We're winning so much that we really don't know what to do about it. People are asking me, please, 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 Mr. President, we're winning too much. We can't take it anymore. We're not used to winning in our country.
There were shouting matches, a confiscated protest sign, Will the Dems stand traps, and other freedom moments, enough fact-checkable claims to really keep us here all week. But beyond the spectacle, there are real signs buried in the speech about where both parties are headed into the midterms, and that is what we actually need to talk about. And so let's start with one of the things that made this one memorable, and it wasn't the policy. But when Trump asked the room to pledge that their priorities were protecting American people, not illegal aliens, Minnesota Representative Ilhan Omar just wasn't having it.
And enact serious penalties for public officials who block the removal of criminal aliens. In many cases, drug lords, murderers all over our country, they're blocking the removal of these people out of our country, and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Well, maybe not clear in the moment, Omar was shouting, "You have killed Americans, you are a murderer," and unfortunately, that's Freddie, who were two of her constituents who were shot and killed by Trump troopers earlier this year. But Omar also later posted that Trump killed two of my constituents and called him a liar. And the reaction to this, it was split exactly how you'd expect. Democrats on the Homeland Security Committee back there saying ICE is killing citizens and not power. In the White House, there was nothing to say. Speaker Mike Johnson said that Omar and Representative Rashida Tlaib were nearly ejected for that. And there was also the situation with Texas Democratic Representative Al Green, who stood in the center aisle holding a sign that read "Black people on our capes," which is a direct callback to Trump's post about the Obamas. With that, you had House Majority Leader Steve Scalise swiping the sign on his way in. Another Republican trying to physically block him in. Green Bay early but not coordinated at this point.
When you allow that level of racism to continue, then you tolerate it, you perpetuate it. I refuse to be a part of the perpetuation of this level of racism. And this is why I wanted to confront him up close. And judging by the look on his face, he got the message.
And also with this, some Democrats just not bothering to show up at all. About 30 members of Congress joining hundreds of people on the National Mall for what they called the People's State of the Union, which was a counter-rally for Reed, Pennsylvania Representative.
Hurry up and get to the fucking thing.
The Republicans, they were predictably not fans of the boycott.
Democrats, meanwhile, are going to host, count them, 5 separate counter events, rallies of some sort, they call them, in lieu of tonight's address. It's shameful. They would boycott. We don't do that.
Meanwhile, inside, Trump was doing what Trump does.
These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy. We're lucky we have a country. With people like this, Democrats are destroying our country, but we stopped it just in the nick of time.
Also, one of the more notable segments was when Trump turned to the assassination of Kurt.
My great friend, Charlie Kirk, great guy, great man. So last year, Charlie was violently murdered by an assassin and martyred, really martyred for his beliefs.
Trump also used the moment to call for national unity against political violence.
In Charlie's memory, we must all come together to reaffirm that America is one nation under God, and we must totally reject political violence of any kind.
Which, I do think that it's worth noting, is an interesting position from a guy who just months ago posted that lawmakers who told military officers to refuse illegal orders were committing sedition, a crime that he suggested was punishable by death. Of course, that's in addition to all the other shit he has said recently and over the years. But then also, on a lighter note, we had Trump bring out the U.S. men's hockey team fresh off of a gold medal win on Sunday. And they're inviting for being kind of controversial because of the Pastor Cal situation of it all. And while most of the team attended, you had 5 players who didn't, though their absences were reportedly unrelated to the president. But the women's team reportedly turned down their invite entirely. Then one of the big moments with the men's team is that Trump announced the Medal of Freedom for the team's gold. And that was just one part of many places where Trump was kind of getting his Oprah on. But Trump handed out 2 Purple Hearts, 2 Medals of Honor, and a Legion of Merit before the night was over. Now, as far as the speech itself, given that it was nearly 2 hours long, I cannot unpack every single thing, but there are standouts. Regarding a third term, he said,
So in my first year, second term.
What?
Should be my third term. But strange things happen.
It's just a reminder, no matter how many things the president says which are untrue, he lost the 2020 election. No matter how many times he floats it, presidents do not get third terms. That is the 22nd Amendment. But then on tariffs, he said,
and as time goes by, I believe the tariffs paid for by foreign countries will, like in the past, substantially replace the modern-day system of income tax.
It was basically everyone except the president, I guess, has figured out foreign countries don't pay tariffs. American importers do, and often those costs get passed on to the American consumers. The idea that tariffs could replace the entire income tax system, according to experts, that's not even close to realistic. Also, on the economy, you had Trump saying,
incomes are rising fast. The roaring economy is roaring like never before. A short time ago, we were a dead country. Now we are the hottest country anywhere in the world, the hottest.
And with that, here's the reality of the situation. Inflation did hit a 4-decade high under Biden in 2022, but it was already declining by the time that Trump took office. As far as incomes, after-tax earnings rose just under 1% last year, which is actually slower growth than Biden's final year. So Trump's main economic strategy right now seems to be insisting that a boom is happening while almost all Americans don't feel it in their daily lives. Oh, and he also claimed that he has secured $18 trillion in investments, which is a number that he's repeated multiple times without ever providing evidence. We've had many experts saying that is a figure that's either exaggerated, highly speculative, or false. Even the number on the White House is much lower, and it appears that it might include investments made under Biden. Then, moving on with the State of the Union, on election fraud, you had Trump saying,
I'm asking you to approve the Save America Act.
Stay quiet.
To stop illegal aliens and others who are unpermitted persons from voting in our sacred American elections. The cheating is rampant in our elections. It's rampant.
So again, Donald Trump has never provided evidence of rampant cheating. Even the Heritage Foundation's own voter fraud database, and this is a conservative source, includes only 85 allegations of non-citizen voting across 2 decades. But then, after Donald Trump finished his overly long, seemingly like just to set the record speech, he then had Virginia Governor Abigail Spanberger delivering the official Democratic response, and her strategy was clear. Make it about your wallet.
Tonight, as we watched our nation's lawmakers gather for a joint session of
course he quit.
We did not hear the truth from our president. Is the president working to make life more affordable for you and your family? Is the president working to keep Americans safe both at home and abroad? Is the president working for you?
With Spanberger hammering tariffs, cost of living, and healthcare access, along with calling out Republicans directly for enabling Trump.
They remain unwilling to assert their constitutional authority to stop him. They're making your life harder. They're making your life more expensive. They're even making it more difficult to see a doctor.
And it appears like, this is not just rhetoric, it's the playbook. You've got establishment Democrats pointing to Spanberger's double-digit victory in Virginia last November as proof that a disciplined, cost-focused message It just works, and they want to replicate that nationwide heading into the midterms. So there, on that topic, as I've done for about a year now, I'm a big believer in you need different kind of Dems in different kind of areas. But, zooming out on this whole situation, a big thing to consider is that Trump walked into that chamber with a 39% approval rating. Understand, that is lower than any president during their first State of the Union. Well, of course, we're going to have to see what future polling shows a week from now, a month from now. You're already seeing some headlines calling this speech inconsequential. Right? You've got surveys showing that he's bleeding support among independents, and reports suggest that Republicans are staring down a serious voter enthusiasm gap heading into November. And while Trump's MAGA base is not going anywhere, the base alone does not win midterms, especially when Trump himself is not on the ballot. And while again, specific races and specific locations are going to vary, generally speaking, it looks like Democrats are betting that pocketbook issues are going to carry them, and Republicans are betting that the culture war energy might hold them. So really, one of the biggest questions is whether last night that State of the Union actually moves voters, or we all just kind of watch 2 hours of political theater that changes nothing. Well, a lot's likely to go down before then, but we'll find out in November. Right, and then there's more we've got to dive into in just a minute, but first, let me thank a sponsor and say, if your week's moving so fast, you're basically eating whatever's closest, for which, let's face it, Doritos is not usually the best choice, this is for you. Because today's sponsor, Factor, it's not a meal kit. It's food that's already done. And more importantly, it's good. Factor delivers fully prepared, dietitian-approved, chef-made meals. You just heat, eat, and pretend you planned ahead. No chopping, no pans, no what's the next meal spiral. Like when you have no time, it's the opposite of cooking. And my go-to lately has been their high protein meals when, I want to stay on track without becoming a meal prep person. And the ingredients actually feel adult. Lean proteins, colorful veggies, whole food ingredients, healthy fats. And they cut the junk. No refined sugars, no artificial sweeteners, and no refined seed oils. Plus, there's tons of variety, 100 rotating weekly options, plus Calorie Smart, Mediterranean, and really just anything depending on your goals. Meals also arrive fresh, never frozen, and you're eating in about 2 minutes. Like that's not cooking. It's a pit stop that's not eating up your day, no pun intended. So hey, just scan that QR code or go to factormeals.com/DeFranco50 off and use code DeFranco50 off to get 50% off and a free breakfast for a year. But then, diving right back into the news, we've got to talk about how the Trump administration is about to begin the next phase of its mass deportation campaign. Because you have the Trump administration now recruiting what they're calling deportation judges, and they have ads featuring shots from the dystopian film Judge Dredd with the tagline, "Deliver justice to criminal illegal aliens, save your country." And if that sounds to you like less of a job posting and more like a propaganda poster, yeah, that's kind of the point, because what's happening inside of America's immigration courts right now, it is a systematic dismantling and rebuild, and we need to talk about it. So here's where we are. Since Trump took office, the administration has fired nearly 100 immigration judges, with dozens more retiring early or resigning. Over 200 gone in total. Even accounting for new hires, the bench has gone from 726 judges to roughly 553. It's about a quarter of the entire system wiped out. And understand, this was not a slow restructuring. The very first judge that Trump fired was dismissed mid-hearing and escorted out of the building on the spot.
I asked multiple supervisors. I asked the Chief Judge of the United States and my supervisor why I was being fired, and they told me that they did not know why.
Where she said that being removed like that, it sent shockwaves across the United States. And she's right? Because it's not just about her. It was a message. And today, 12 immigration courts have lost over half of their judges. 2 courts have 0 judges left. And it's not just the bench. The DOJ's Executive Office for Immigration Review also gutted about 75% of its attorney advisors and over half of all court supervisors. More than 400 support staff gone. So every remaining judge, already buried under hundreds and thousands of cases, just inherited the caseloads of everyone who got fired.
Fired without any warning or as each judge gets fired, those cases are redistributed. The backlog gets longer. People have to wait longer for their hearings. And after their hearings, they have to wait longer for their decisions.
And here's where the strategy comes into focus, right? Because this isn't about shrinking the courts. It's about reloading them. And in fact, you had one of the fired judges saying it plainly, saying, you are telling every judge that is left that they better not be following the law or their conscience, that they need to apply the law as you are interpreting. And those replacements, they're being recruited through those deportation judge ads that I mentioned at the beginning. And understand that label matters because immigration judges are supposed to impartially consider each case, which could mean deportation, but could also mean granting asylum or legal status. Calling them deportation judges is like calling police officers deadly force officers or trial juries conviction juries. So telling you what the outcome is supposed to be before the case even starts. Or as a Syracuse University immigration analyst put it, the label declares that the position requires not adjudication, but preordination, effectively turning courts into deportation factories and judges into mindless functionaries. The person that's running this hiring spree is Darren Margolin, Trump's pick to head the Executive Office for Immigration Review. He's actually a former immigration judge who says that he retired in early 2024 out of disgust with Biden administration, claiming that he felt like, this is a direct quote, a co-conspirator in treason. He also believes that there are 25 to 30 million undocumented immigrants in the country, which is at least double the best estimates of the
No
research
problem.
center.
We'll
So that's
get
the
right
lens
on
which
that.
these new judges are being selected. So far, Margolin says he's received around 1,700 applications, and while he hasn't said how many have been hired, the first cohort are reportedly starting by the end of this month. And all of this is he's also pushing to limit the appeals process on deportation orders, meaning that once the decision comes down, there'd be fewer ways to challenge it.
What's
So with
up
all
with
this,
it?
taking a step back and looking at the full picture, we're in a situation where if you're an immigrant in the system right now, ICE agents may ambush
cool.
you
We gonna
outside
have
the
him
courthouse
took.
after a routine check-in. You have posters in the lobby of immigration buildings literally encouraging people to plead guilty and self-report. And now the judge deciding your case may have been specifically recruited not to weigh the facts, but to deliver a predetermined outcome. As far as the Trump DOJ's response to all this, you had a spokesperson telling NPR that the administration is, quote, restoring integrity to our immigration system after what they called 4 years of de facto amnesty under Biden. But that, as you have many critics and experts saying, what's actually happening is the opposite of integrity. It's the removal of independence from a system that only works if judges are free to follow the law, not a mandate. Whether you support stricter immigration enforcement or not, the question everyone should be asking is, do you want a court system where the outcome is decided before you walk in the door? Because that's not following the law, that's not pursuing justice, that's not enforcement, that is theater, right? And actually, while it's not theater, but instead a very consequential drama, we gotta talk about how the Secretary of Defense just gave one of the biggest AI companies in the world an ultimatum. Drop your ethical guardrails and let the military use your tech however it wants, or we'll force you to. That's now what's being reported from multiple outlets after what's been described as a heated meeting between Pete Hegseth and the CEO of Anthropic. And the implications here, it goes way beyond one company and one contract. For some background here, Anthropic, the company behind the AI model Claude, is one of the several AI firms that have started working with the military. In fact, last summer they entered into a $200 million pilot contract with the Pentagon. Then in January, you had Hegseth issuing a memo directing AI companies to remove restrictions on their technology and give the military the ability to use these tools however it sees fit. And the argument was that the military should be able to deploy these systems to whatever extent it wants and only be limited by their understanding of the law and not by the guardrails that the companies have built in or ethical lines that the companies have drawn. So as a result, the various AI companies working with the Pentagon have
I hate this guy.
According to sources at the department, Elon Musk's XAI had no problem handing the government a blank check, essentially. Other companies, including Google, are reportedly getting close.
I'm just trying to get out of here.
Anthropic has reportedly been more cautious, agreeing to loosen some restrictions, but insisting that certain guardrails need to stay in place. And in fact, for months, Anthropic CEO has maintained both publicly and in private meetings that there are two things that the company just will not allow its technology to be used for: domestic mass surveillance and autonomous weapons that operate or make kill decisions without a human in the loop. He's called those uses illegitimate and prone to abuse, and according to sources, he reiterated exactly those sticking points in yesterday's meeting with Pentagon officials. But then Hegseth's response was to give an ultimatum: agree to the DoD's demands by this Friday or face the consequences. And as far as what those consequences actually look like, the reporting there has been a little mixed. Some outlets say that Hegseth threatened to both designate Anthropic as a supply chain risk and invoke the Defense Production Act, which allows the government to effectively seize control of a company's products. You also have other outlets reporting that it's more of an either or between those two options, which actually kind of makes more sense when you understand what each does. Designating a company as a supply chain risk essentially blacklists it, cutting it off from future government contracts and requiring the government to stop using its products entirely. Right? And then invoking the Defense Production Act, it does the exact opposite. It would force Anthropic to let the military use its technology regardless of what the company wants. So one option is essentially we'll never work with you again, and the other is you'll work with us whether you like it or not. So two very different levers, or I guess maybe more accurately, hammers. And then on top of that, there are also reports that Hegseth threatened to cancel the existing $200 million contract outright, though it's unclear how that would fit into the other scenarios. Now with all this, you have Pentagon officials telling reporters that this ultimatum has nothing to do with Anthropic's guardrails against surveillance and autonomous weapons. But really, not a lot of people trust that. And in fact, you have many experts saying that's exactly what this is. It's an attempt by Trump and his people to punish a company for setting basic ethical standards and refusing to blindly come to heel. And that's also what makes the story, this news, this situation bigger than just one contract negotiation. Because the question it raises isn't really about Anthropic, it's about whether any tech company can maintain ethical boundaries when the government has the legal tools to simply override them. We're in a moment where the Trump administration's pro-AI agenda is apparently too aggressive for the literal AI companies building the technology. And if a firm can be threatened with government seizure of its products for saying, we don't think AI should make kill decisions without a human involved, that should concern everyone, regardless of where you stand on AI or defense policy. But for now, we're gonna have to wait and see how this plays out by Friday, but it is definitely one it is important to watch. This is something that's gotten some attention, but it deserves a lot more. But the next step from that, actually, finally today, I've got two announcements and a final piece of news we need to talk about. The first being, if you're in the New York City area, you'll happen to be going to On Air Fest in Brooklyn. We're gonna be there on Thursday, and by we, I mean Alex Broman and I. We're gonna be doing a live moderated Q&A Thursday morning, talking about crashing out, the podcast space, and the show, pretty much anything in front of creatives creatives, fellow podcasters, and industry folks. So if you work in media, you're a business leader, creative, or you just like to hear interesting things being talked about, we'd love to have you. And again, it's Thursday morning. It's on Airfest at the White Hotel in Williamsburg. We're taking over the 6th floor lounge in the morning. So it should be great people, great views, a great time. But also I want to say, if you're a fan of this show or you're a fan of Crashing Out, text me at 813-213-4423, right? Join the text line, because I can't give you exact details yet, but this will not be the last time we're in New York City in the near future. In fact, maybe we'll be coming to a city near you. But who knows? Who knows? Well, the people on the text line will know. But then the other announcement is a congratulations, and that's congrats to Paul M., SeatGeek's latest weekly winner, who just scored $500 in tickets to see Miami versus Notre Dame football in the fall. For the rest of y'all, that's right. SeatGeek is still giving away $500 in tickets, and you should definitely enter today if you haven't already. You could be the next winner and snag $500 to see your favorite artist, sporting event, or player. There's like over 70,000 events to choose from. And all you gotta do is add code DeFranco to your SeatGeek app profile for a chance to the weekly $500 prize. No purchase necessary. But with that said, the final thing that we have to talk about today is that 15 states just sued the Trump administration over gutting the childhood vaccine schedule. And it's happening on the exact same day the Senate is grilling Trump's pick for Surgeon General, a wellness influencer who repeatedly refused to say that vaccines don't cause autism. We need to talk about both of these things because together they paint a pretty alarming picture of where U.S. public health is headed. So as far as the lawsuit, yesterday, a coalition of Democratic-led states filed suit asking a judge to roll back the CDC's decision last month to stop recommending 6 key childhood immunizations: hepatitis A, hepatitis B, flu, meningitis, RSV, and rotavirus. With that decision shrinking the recommended childhood vaccine schedule from 17 to 11. Instead of encouraging every child to get these shots, the new CDC guidance says that they should only go to high-risk kids or when a doctor specifically recommends them. And so with all this, you have the lawsuit alleging that RFK Jr. bypassed the established advisory committee and skirted the legal framework that's been used to make vaccine recommendations for decades. And it also claims that the changes weren't based on any scientific evidence, instead relying on comparisons to countries like Denmark, which experts have pointed out has nationalized healthcare in a population smaller than New York City. So not exactly apples to apples. And the lawsuit also targets RFK Jr.'s decision to fire all 17 members of the Vaccine Advisory Committee and replace them with vaccine skeptics, calling that move illegal. And this isn't even the only legal challenge. A separate coalition of public health organizations has also sued to reverse the guidance. But again, what makes this timing striking is that as these lawsuits are piling up, the Senate was simultaneously holding a confirmation hearing for Casey Means, Trump's pick for Surgeon General, the nation's health doctor. Now, Means is a medical doctor, which is more than you can say about RFK Jr., but she also dropped out of her residency and doesn't have an active license to treat patients. Instead, you have this person who built her public profile as a wellness influencer and entrepreneur, largely by casting doubt on the broader medical system, right? Promoting raw milk, disparaging birth control, and most notably, expressing skepticism about vaccines and spreading the debunked claim that they're linked to autism. That last point was the focus of today's hearing, with Senator Bill Cassidy, chair of the Senate Health Committee and a physician himself, warning Means that the Surgeon General has a responsibility to fight vaccine skepticism.
We're gonna get the pills, we're gonna get the cocaine, or we could get the pills, the meds, the cocaine, fucking whatever! You're gonna get it, you're gonna bring it to Ron, and then we're gonna fucking get moving!
The CFO, COO, intern, and restroom attendant had to start up. Okay, so, you're about to go to the boat, right? Trevor's asks you approach it from the sea and the air, okay? Half of you are going to Vespucci, and the other half are going to Higgins, Hellators, and La Puerta. Just so you know, the frat boys you're going after move weight, so they're likely to have security. Armed security. And the amount of juice they're on ain't known as a mood stabilizer. So, well, I wouldn't expect them to roll over, just so you know. This chopper you're...
This is too easy. Too fucking easy. I would never understand. Yeah, I gotta fucking do solo shit.
Unreal!
Retarded! Dickhead! Motherfucker!
Vinewood.
Oh, that's heist in a nutshell right there. Wow. Okay. Excellent. $0. I'm quitting. I usually don't quit. I don't want to be the first one to quit. But it makes no sense. Like, you don't even have to, like, I understand accidents happen, but man, not these many. I don't even want to go to the boat. I don't want to do shit.
You can't be here, it's restricted.
This is some bullshit.
That sucks ass.
Ain't fucking A.
What the fuck?
It's my fault. I'm quitting anyways. I don't even care. Should have got it on the first try. Yeah, somebody else quit before me. Good job.
Later.
Are the stock wheels for this chrome, so I can't change the color of these.
Goodbye.
Can I not spawn in my arcade? Or am I missing it? Well, what I could do dongle is so fucking broke. 4 viewers. Hey, I don't. My mic does work, apparently. See if I can get noise canceling working. Here, shitty AMD software. It's really shitty. Oh, okay, there we go. It's working. Now we go. Smart technology. Enable. Great. AMD. Everything works. Still like AMD, but gotta deal with shit like that. Alright, I want to go to my arcade.
I'm listening, Daddy. Okay, Daddy.
Oh wait. Purpose to come here is to leave.
Later.
What the fuck is going on with this controller? Okay.
Daddy. I hope you had sweet
Release the
dreams.
X-Files.
Your car!
It's gay.
Hey, how can I help? Can't handle the heat, my friend? Okay, leave it with creepy Uncle Lester.
Not gonna work. Damn.
Hi. What service are you looking for? Okay, I'll get you out of trouble. No problem.
And I don't even need it.
How can I be of service? How much are we talking about? Okay, I've got it from here. So, everything has been taken care of. I'll speak to you soon.
That's all I got is 1,500. Okay.